Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back here to the Nanyang Championships. We're going to be taking a look at the American qualifiers, Infamous facing off against Digital Chaos. It's a best-of-3 series. I'm Lyrical Dota, joined today by the Wonder Cow. Sir, we've seen a couple of these teams over the past few days, and they have looked strong. How are you doing, and what are you expecting?
I'm doing well, and I'm expecting a bloodbath. Both of ththese teams are very aggressive, very active, and they like to get in and get their hands dirty.
I'm completely agreeing with you. I'm thinking about yesterday and the way that this series ended up working out. Like, we had Infamous that played two armlet heroes that just completely rolled over. Who was it that they were playing yesterday? It was Enemy GG. They did a really freaking good job. First up was the Lifestealer, and then the second time around they ended up going for the Huskar. And meanwhile, Digital Chaos themselves, they ended up, I believe, running an Elder Titan in the first phase. And I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe even Infamous go for a first pick Lifesteal here, but they can go a lot of different ways.
Yeah, they have plenty of options available to them. The only reason I would see them grabbing a first pick Lifestealer here is if they wanted to deny it to Digital Chaos as a pseudo deny pick. Right, just because they do run the hero pretty frequently on Infamous, but it's also, you don't want to give away your carry necessarily this early if you don't have to. I think for Infamous, probably a more typical support like a Lion or a Witch Doctor might be more likely to come out first, as those are versatile picks that don't give away anything about your draft.
Yeah, absolutely. They could end up going back for that. We do have the IO band out, as well as the Bounty Hunter, Nature's Prophet, and the Slardar. Interestingly enough, Digital Chaos opted to take the second pick, and that does mean that Infamous is going to get first pick in Dire. We've been seeing the change in it a lot, and they're actually going to be going for a Doom first. That kind of, in its own way, is a bit of a deny of the Lifestealer. We've talked a ton about how great this hero is against him if you're able to get that Doom out at any point, particularly if he's got an armlet.
Yeah, not only does the damage over time make armlet toggling extremely difficult in any sort of effective way, but it also allows you to kite out that Lifestealer. He's not going to be able to open wounds people to catch back up and all of that nonsense. So,
yeah, it feels like it's a pretty great answer. They do actually end up going straight for the Alchemist and then back into that Elder Titan. We were talking about it. What is it about this hero that just, like, I feel like everybody's picking it up in NA?
yeah, well, especially Digital Chaos are picking it up quite a bit. It gives them a ton of area control, which is very highly prioritized right now. The damage output increase from natural order for your allies is valuable as well. And it is a momentum-based hero. Since teams are more often going for strategies that scale from the early game relatively slowly and build on themselves, like a slow snowball, if you will, right? Elder Titan works really well in that sort of lineup because he comes out with a pretty decent big AoE stomp. He scales into the mid game for all of your heroes in terms of the natural order. He doesn't push particularly well, but with that sort of lineup, you don't need to take tier 2s before 20 or 25 minutes anyway, so you can kind of move in and be more combat oriented.
Absolutely. I do have to mention that I think these names are going to switch back over afterwards, and I believe that Infamous are still running one sub. This guy in the middle here, Gigorio Priomola Malo. Oh my God, I'm butchering it. I'm so sorry. That's not his real name, anyways. His real name is just Matthew. I'm pretty sure that that's Matthew from Lucchini, but I'm not positive about that one. We'll have to do a double check. But Lion is going to be the option, so they go back, take the support. This was somebody that you were talking about. Another just, I mean, I feel like this hero is always going to be so good.
Yes, he was high enough on the priority for picks and bans in the end of 686 that I was very surprised to see him not take a nerf on 6.87. He's the only hero that I was surprised by the complete lack of addressing. So typically heroes that are doing well right at the tail end of a patch often do get overlooked because there's not the time to really incorporate their recent success. But he had about a whole month of prosperity before the patch, maybe even a little longer than a month. And now we know every team knows how to run him. They've been practicing with him regularly. They've had ticketed games on him, and he's a safety blanket pick. He works really well with a lot of lineups. He didn't get nerfed, so teams are still conveniently able to use him. He has a lot of skills to his disposal that makes him versatile in a lot of different types of draft and strategy, and that's why we see so much of him.
Yeah, it does feel like he's in almost every game, and for those reasons you listed. The other bands that are coming out now, the one that kind of threw me a little bit for a loop, we have the Darkseer band as well as the Bat Rider, and then that led to an Ancient Apparition. So again, we talked about those two heroes that I feel like are going to be in somewhat hot contention. Maybe the Lifestealer ended up being a possible pick, but Ancient Apparition, no more regen going to be able to come out against the Alchemist. So is that just the main reason, that the thing that they were worried about? And I guess the Beastmaster is the third pick. That's always value for DC.
Yeah, Ancient Apparition is a fantastic counter to the Alchemist, especially because Alchemist currently is going to be almost certainly running an armlet, right? Not only do you take away any toggle potential on the armlet, but ever since the change way, way back about 2 or 2.5 years ago, where Chemical Rage now is entirely based in health regen, Ancient Apparition's ult just shuts him down completely.
Yeah, it's really, really impressive how badly you can shut down this hero that causes so many other problems for a bunch of other ones. The Earth Spirit is also going to get taken. Substantial nerfs, but still really strong at roaming into that mid lane, and I think that's part of the reason why you end up taking it. This does also give us the signal that it's going to be the off-lane Doom this time around. Always a flexible pick, and I do like the Doom Lion opening. I think that it's kind of contentious between people as to if it's any good, but I've just seen that be so freaking strong for newbie with the combo of KP and Chuan playing those two heroes, but certainly not going to be the case this time as it's Infamous. I'm curious to see how they do with it. Witch Doctor is the other one.
Yeah, Witch Doctor that's the hero that I thought as a support would come into this patch most effectively, and it was the most picked hero in We Play. Right, so he was another one of these heroes that was on the rise right at the tail end of 6.86, starting to come into his own, really becoming a top priority pick for teams. But he got into that role a little bit too late to be seriously considered for a nerf or a buff of any kind, really any significant changes, and that rolls over. Now, because the metagame has changed so drastically and the armor that comes out of Armlet significantly impacts the way teams have been addressing their overall lineup. Witch Doctor has not continued to have that prosperity quite as long as I expected, but he is still what I would consider a tier 2-ish pick. We see him a lot, but we don't see him in the first draft phase that often.
Yeah, definitely. Invoker, also another one of those heroes that's definitely taken a little bit of a nerf stick recently. He still does all of the things that he was doing before. It's just slightly more slow. It's like you're playing in sand slightly with those added cast points, but still a great hero nonetheless. And they've got a pretty strong lineup. We did see the Lifestealer band. We were talking about that one previously, as well as the Gyrocopter. And I'm curious where Infamous go with this. Like, if they wanted to, they could go for a Spectre at this point, potentially. Try and create a little bit more of that global presence. A couple of other heroes that are available. Is there anything that's really standing out to you for a position 1?
As Infamous are moving forward and thinking about this, I do think maybe some push would be of value. They're not going to do that, though. They're going to go for the Slark. This is a hero that they love. Lycan is a pretty good shutdown in the way that he's going to be able to take away territory extremely quickly. And Slark is a hero that needs to get up a core item set. I suspect we're going to be seeing an Armlet and a Blink Dagger, possibly Armlet Shadowblade on Slark, before he gets really scary. And Lycan hoping to knock down some towers and take Roshan before that becomes an issue.
You think he's going to go Armlet on the Slark?
I think so. Okay. Because this player loves that item.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a player-specific prediction.
Yeah, I would agree. That's the thing that I was kind of curious about is, again, he kind of made his name across the Frankfurt Major by those armlet toggling Huskar plays when they were coming. Again, Kaitara Hayama, the rest of the squad, Excel was a part of that group as well, if I'm not mistaken. He might have been a part of Elite Wolves at that point. Keeping track of all the South American teams is a little bit difficult, but I think that it's a really strong squad right now, and there's a decent chance that they're able to take DC. And honestly, I kind of favor their draft this game over Digital Chaos's.
Yeah, for Digital Chaos, I do like their draft. I hedge on how execution dependent it is, though. They need to hit their windows extremely effectively. They need to make sure that Lycan is getting out and getting action done relatively early. And the Beastmaster needs to not get totally zoned out. He absolutely needs to get his level. So if we see some, for example, a Lion Earthshaker rotations into this off camp, as we do frequently see into Beastmasters, and they manage to pick up a kill or two, that could honestly shut down Digital Chaos in a way that will allow the Slark to get going.
Ooh. quick little eyes spot him out as Saksa is going to be spotted by the Earth Spirit. Again, unfortunately, this game is not on the ticket through the qualifiers, so they're stuck with names that are a little bit different. So we're just going to call them by their hero names, I think, throughout the whole course of this cast and hope for the best. Meanwhile, the boar is going to spot out up top lane here, making sure that they've got eyes on everything as they're trying to maybe think about placing wards. They haven't ended up doing it as of yet, and this is going to be a little bit of an impasse.
Yeah, there's probably no serious aggression going to come out here. Just a bit of rattling of sabers, right?
There you go. Some good stuff. Well, they do place down one on the high ground on the other side, so that is going to at least give a decent amount of vision. I think the big thing you need to be concerned about is the Earth Spirit here. They're actually doing a nice little tricky move. They're dropping the Observer Wards back behind the base to make sure that, or sort of signal to the Lycan that they've already placed it. He locked in his items also, as you can see that little thing there. Make sure he doesn't want those to get all mixed up.
I find that to be a very annoying mechanic, but I understand the necessity for it. Everything is just kind of breaking down very even-handedly, so we should see. This is actually interesting. The Alchemist started with the Quelling Blade and the Healing Salve. We normally see that be the item that he decides to pick up with his rune, and rather picking up something else on the off chance that he doesn't get the rune. Instead, he decided to buy boots with his early rune gold and started off with the Quelling Blade and Healing Salve.
Cool. Well, going to be having that Elder Titan in the mid lane here. Going to try and just mess around a little bit with Invoker. The other day when we were watching this game, DC ended up being able to get a first courier snipe with just running into mid lane on Saksa. It was a really bizarre series of events, but meanwhile, bottom lane, Doom is able to pick up that the Satyr creep, so he's going to have that regen aura that is just so freaking good.
Yeah, the extra 6 regen is absolutely necessary, especially considering this particular Doom did not go into any sort of armor, right? So a 0 armor hero means that you're taking pure damage on any physical right clicks that come in on you. Witch Doctor does a decent clip for a support hero in terms of damage, and it's going to be very difficult for the Doom to stay in this lane until he manages to either get a Ring of Protection potentially or the Wild Wing Ripper aura, something like that.
We'll see if he's indeed going to be able to do that. He brought in a decent amount of regen, has that salve as well. As far as mid lane is concerned, you see that the Invoker already going for that early point in Quas and Wex, so he's going to be able to trade, but taking a ton of damage. That also means he doesn't have Quas available to regen through this. A little bit unfortunate. Yeah,
the Wex Exhort build here is probably going to break down into 1-1-1 very shortly hereafter, as soon as he hits level 3. I like that the Earth Spirit is starting to rotate around, seeing how much trouble the Invoker is getting into. I don't particularly love the position that he's decided to hold on to, but if they are able to get in and get Saksa, who's been kind of floating around this middle lane, catch him off guard with a good roll, that would swing this mid lane around really, really fast. Just even the simplest thing like a support pick would give Invoker the sort of space and control that he needs and the level that he needs in order to maintain his own control in this lane.
Yeah, I would say that would be pretty nice. Again, I think that part of the reason he was sitting over there is they've got this ward that's over on the high ground. They're going to roll into Wii. He did spot that the whole time as it was coming through by that ward placement, but does not really worry all that much as they don't have the damage to find a kill at all. So he's going to be all hunky-dory in the mid lane and just backs on out, salves up, and is going to continue farming here.
Yeah, Wii also does have the bottle coming out to him here as well, so he's going to not be hurting for regen. I'm not sure that he's a super viable target unless Lion rotates as well. Lion could rotate, by the way. The Slark has been left completely alone up here. The Beastmaster opting to go directly into the jungle and just not try to do any sort of off-laning. I think that that's an okay choice in that he really couldn't do a whole ton into the Lion anyway, but his decision to not use the board to harass at all is going to get this Slark out even faster. And as we mentioned, getting ahead of this Slark, especially for the Lycan, is going to be crucial for making this overall strategy smooth.
See, I think that this is okay, though. Like, I'm looking at this right now. You've still got 3 heroes that are over here to the side, and they're continuing to just sort of stick around this area and not really push the tower. They don't have the heroes that are capable of doing that, so you're kind of just sharing experience in a way that's not really doing a ton for Infamous. Meanwhile, you've got the rest of the side of DC who's getting farm up and now being able to rotate in the Elder Titan to the offlane position. He's pretty comfortable here. We'll see if they're going to be able to make something happen. They roll in, don't quite hit onto Misery, unfortunately, and the casks are going to bounce, which means this kill is probably not going to happen. Well, Sunstrike coming through as well. Misery's going to take that damage, but they got the stomp off from Saksa, and turning this back around might be able to kill off one. They do get the kill onto the Witch Doctor, but they might pay for it as well. The Maledict damage coming in spades, and with all of these heroes over here, that should be another quick and easy one. 2 for 1 is the trade at 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's really difficult to call if that would have been okay. Like, so First Blood is pretty nice, but I don't think anybody bought out before they died there, which means that you end up losing anything that happens to be unreliable, which is 4 minutes of passive gold for a lot of these heroes, right? I do think Digital Chaos came out ahead there, just a little bit too aggressive coming out of Infamous, but they thought that they were going to have the Invoker Sunstrike grab an easy kill. You can totally see the justification for moving in there.
No, totally, yeah. And it felt like it could have been strong. Maybe if you also hit that Rolling Boulder, it's a little bit better. They have found Misery now, though, and with the Pounce, Dark Pack, and the Earth Spike, this should be another one. So Slark off to a really great start. Mid lane, though, there's a lot of action as they're diving in on Wii. Have been able to get that Infernal Blade off. A couple more right-clicks coming through, and they get the Hadouken to find the kill. So a couple of really nicely executed kills by Infamous, and this is what I'm talking about. They're a strong team when they're working together like this, and really need to be careful about their team.
These are guys with the bloodlust. They love to be very active. So it makes it for exciting games, right? I mean, we're already sitting on 5 kills at 5 minutes. That's pretty decent. The Slark is already up to 2,000 gold in hand, so he might just be straight up rushing a Blink Dagger. And that would be a sign that he wants to be extremely active. No, he's going to buy out a Midas, actually.
No boots. Who needs it?
I'm really surprised that he decided to save up that much to buy out the Midas instead of bringing out the recipe when he had the money earlier. So he would have it already if he did that, right? He would have a sub 6 minute Midas.
By the way, I really like this Doom play up here in the bottom lane. That being said, he's going to get ran at, and it might end up being a little bit of an issue. I don't think they can bring him down, though. With the Scorched Earth, he's pretty freaking tanky, but he was able to dodge the Echo Stomp by juking a direction that you wouldn't normally expect. Like, he juked back in away from where the Stomp was going to connect at, and it just shows, like, he's really aware of what you need to be able to do against this hero that hasn't been seen all that often. Now the roll in, they're going to be able to catch onto the Lycan. How to increase the damage, but the stun comes through onto 2 as well. Can they find this kill? Infernal Blade has already been dropped one time. There's a cooldown on it. I don't think that they can get him. Has 2 stick charges, not enough for the Hadouken as of yet, and Saksa should be able to block him the rest of the way out. So a pretty nice little play there, but wasn't able to find it.
Very, very narrow. I do like the rotation from the Earth Spirit there. Even though they didn't secure the kill, they did force the Lycan back a bit, and it was close enough on the margin that you could maybe even have expected a kill there. It's not necessarily his fault that they didn't get the kill, but it's so close, right? Up top, though.
Ooh. Yeah, he ends up getting caught. They goes into ulti form. Roar is available if they want to use it, and ends up dropping it there onto the Lion, falling low, but he might end up paying for this one. Oh, God. Are they not going to get this kill? He really needs to be able to find this one. They actually rotate in Misery, and he runs around the trees and is just going to be able to walk away. Oh, no.
Ooh. Anybody who talks about digital...
Oh, nice dodge. Slark's dead. He's actually...
Yes,
oh, no, regen. He's good. God, that was close, though.
That was very, very close. He is fortunate that the Witch Doctor didn't decide to go in on that. Witch Doctor would have died, but I think it would have been a worthy trade to take out your opponent's carry who purchased an early Midas for your support, right? Like, if he had just even maintained vision of the Slark, the Slark would have died. He didn't even have to actually attack the Slark at all. But, you know.
Doom, as well as the net, down onto Lycan. They hit from afar, stun, dodge, and they're not going to be able to get that secondary follow-up there. Stomp didn't connect, but I think that he's good as long as no Sunstrike comes through. Lycan should be safe through this. A very interesting early game start here. With Witch Doctor in the area in level 5, 2 points in Maledict, Slark needs to be a little bit careful.
And there's going to be a fight over the rune. The Alchemist does manage to pick it up, which is a hefty chunk of gold because of that max level Greevil's Greed. This guy is not joking around. We want everything in the world. He already has his armlet up, plus 1,300 gold, and is getting ready to presumably move into that Radiance build that's pretty popular. That is going to be difficult on the Slark, who is pretty dependent on being able to attack both for just core damage, but also essence shift stacks.
Yeah.
He needs to land those attacks to get the essence shift, right? And the mischance will hurt him.
Yeah, I have liked a couple of the Slark games that I've seen. Be careful now as he's already popped the Dark Pack. He might just get roared if he's not careful. Roar, turnaround. Oh, Witch Doctor ulti immediately broken, and Slark is going to be able to live through this really good play there by the Earth Spirit. Slark finds the kill, and now with the Sunstrike coming through, is not going to connect. I think the Moo might be out of here, just trying to drain the mana, and there's the Infernal Blade, and that's going to find the kill. So again, Infamous, I talked about it earlier, this is a really strong team. DC need to be careful, because I think they're pretty happy with how this game has gone.
Yeah, the Lycan's not getting going quite as quickly relative to their opponents as I think Digital Chaos were hoping and expecting. Just because this Slark has had so many close calls but not gone down. If any of those kills had swung the direction away from the Slark, Digital Chaos would be absolutely dandy. But having narrowly missed a couple kills by like 40 health, they are not necessarily in bad shape, but they're nowhere near where they wanted to be.
When you take a look at some of these levels too, Stomp going to connect, and they're going to actually just run at the Lion right here. He should fall, I think. Earthspike goes through, connects onto the Lycan there, and is just going to end up getting dropped in the end. There's no way that they're going to be able to find that.
For Resolution and Saksa there, having split to the opposite sides of the Lion, just to make sure that the Earthspike could not hit both of them, that's a little thing. But that awareness, that knowledge, stopped the Lion from being able to get away. A lot of players would have just bulked up onto the Lion, got him double Earth Spiked, and the Lion very well may have gotten away there.
That was very bold by the Slark. Again, he keeps on initiating onto this Beastmaster with like nobody around and using Dark Pact. You really got to save that for the Roar to make sure that you're able to purge it off. And unfortunately, that was just a kill for nothing.
Yeah, well, you know, to be fair, that is his first death, and he's been doing that all game long.
That's
so
true.
If you're not being punished for something, even though it might not be the optimal way to play, it's very easy to talk yourself into taking risks, especially if you are, by definition, a risk-taking player.
Well, bottom lane, they're going to be able to find and kill off this Lycan, but up top, we're also going to be able to see a jump onto the Earth Spirit, goes for the Stomp, is going to be able to get it, does not hit that Remnant, so unfortunately, I don't think that they're going to be able to get out of there. A nice stun breaks the TP of Misery. Earth Spirit is going to die for this, but got a kill for his carry. On the other side, going to chase down Moo, a couple more right clicks, he has a pounce in 6-5, he might be able to kill him off with this Dark Pack damage that comes in, goes into ulti form, one more right click, he jukes the wrong way! Again! They're not going to be able to find him as of yet. I think that he still does go down. Dark Pack jump to the side, finds the kill. It was super freaking close, but he ends up being able to get it. Slark does it again, and man, that was rather close.
Yeah, that Dark Pact was necessary in that particular case in order to get the kill, because the double step back by the Beastmaster. Moo has just been so on his game with these jukes. Alchemist already, though, the Radiance done, the Armlet done, he's ready to get going. He is going to start knocking down towers, man.
Yeah, this might be a bit of a problem. And again, we talk a lot about the fact that Infamous has been able to get off to a good start, but that's all need to be taken in context of this Alchemist getting a lot in the mid-game. He's 4,000 gold ahead of the Slark, and this is a pretty freaking substantial amount. The experience graph tells a little bit of a different story, but I don't know if they're going to be able to leverage that into more kills going the other direction. Meanwhile, Moo here is going to be doomed up and finished off, so a pretty nice kill there. Misery might go down as well. They do manage to, oh my god, I thought he got the deny there. He didn't get the deny. Witch Doctor denied the Beastmaster. He didn't go down. Alchemist kills off the Lion now, and suddenly this goes terribly for Infamous. They just let the Beastmaster walk away, and now I think that they are going to end up losing the Doom. Juke's around the other direction, but not going to be able to find the kill. Meanwhile, on the other side, we're looking for a bit more. Maledict already down on the Invoker, and he is freaking dead, man. One more right click goes through on the Lycan, and they find the kill, and suddenly, DC, an explosion of energy, they find 3.
Yeah, as soon as you get that Radiance up, it's time to fight, man. You've had enough Logger, and you're ready to brawl. That is the moment that they are at, and especially considering the Slark and the Invoker both went for Midases. Like, you can justify that very easily on the Invoker because he's so level dependent in this game. But on the Slark, to pick up that Midas around 6 minutes, that implies that he's not actually planning on being active for another 7 or 8 minutes, probably, while he farms up actual combat items. He does not have 7 or 8 minutes to wait. Right about now is the point in time when you would expect him to actually start getting active or catch back up from where he would have been offset to.
And I think that you do have a great capability here to try and hold the game out. And if they're able to make it through before the 20-minute mark, I think without a barracks, then or with a barracks, without losing a barracks, I should say, I think that they're probably going to be okay. But this is a really tenuous moment, and they can't afford to lose this Slark again. I don't think it's a little bit too scary.
I think we're beyond the point where we're talking about what they can and can't afford. They've already overdrawn their checking account, right? Okay. So for Alchemist to already be at 12.500 net worth, and sitting on top of now Boots of Travel, Radiance, and Armlet, while the Slark is still not on a core item, they need to find picks. They basically need Digital Chaos to be out of place.
Well, they got one there, looking for another one. They end up going into ulti form, turning on to Misery. Maledict does go down, and he's actually end up maybe getting initiated on. A secondary Dark Pack comes through, he kills off one. Meanwhile, Doom goes down, and Moo's gonna drop. Weeha's there trying to find a kill. They are gonna lose the Slark, but they might end up losing the Alchemist. Is he gonna be able to survive through this? Trying to arm Metallica, but he's already hexed up, and meanwhile turning onto the Lion, trying to finish him off. They do find another one. Weeha suddenly on a freaking rampage, triple kill already. Looking for the fourth now. Can he kill off this Doom? It hasn't been the stun, and he's actually just going to drop now. Alchemical Rage wears off. The second stun, they're just going to do a little casual moonwalk out of there. Doom is no longer a problem, but Lycan comes in, and this is going to be the cleanup squad as he finally does go down.
That was so cheeky. Just running by, stomping him, and running out of there. But yeah, that was a good escape attempt from the Doom. If the Lycan hadn't come in and swept up, he would have fallen through the cracks. Either way, though, that's exactly what I was just talking about. Infamous are behind where they need to be by a wide margin. And what's really weird to me about this Midas pick is the implication is that the Slark thinks, oh, well, if we go into a more of a later game orientation, we will come out ahead. But the Alchemist is pretty good for that 35, 40-minute period of time. And that's probably where the Midas is really going to start paying off for the Slark. He is going to find himself, or at least try to find himself, a kill on resolution here. He's going deep, and he does have his Shadow Blade up. This was the reveal.
All right, well, that's going to end up being a really big kill. They are going to TP in on the Wolf, though, and Weeha's there, destroys the Lion. My goodness gracious, slowed down by the Wolves on the other side, but meanwhile, they get a pretty nice magnetize, actually only hits onto Moo, and they're going to have to TP away. So Weeha trying to chase down this Doom. He does not have a TP scroll, so probably is going to go down. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Witch Doctor finds a kill on the Invoker. That's not supposed to happen. Doom is hemmed in by his own creeps, or rather, the opponent's creeps. Goes for the, trying to find the turnaround, but not going to be able to be enough. Slark running away. Can they find the stun? Maledict down. He also gets the Dark Pack. Might end up dropping to this if he's not careful. It's going to take a good amount of damage, and I think that he gets away here. It's pretty close.
He's got his ult. He's not going to die here. Unless he walks into a stomp, which he does not do. Okay. Shadow Blade, he might be able to get a kill. Nice stun.
Well played.
Good turnaround. Yeah, so for Infamous, they're sort of warming up into where they need to be, but this Alchemist is still a huge problem. Yeah. They don't really have the tools to kill him. He's 7-1-1. On top of that, he's got 157 last hits with Greevil's Greed maxed.
It's a problem. I mean, he is so freaking farmed.
He's doubling up the Slark. He is more farmed than the next two from his opponent's team by himself.
I mean, it is one of those situations where I always feel like Alchemist, if you're not, like, he does get 6-slotted faster than anybody, but at a certain point you don't get a whole lot bigger. He's not at that point by any means as of yet, but I do still think that there's a strong possibility that Slark starts going ham pretty quickly here.
Yeah, well, he needs to. He needs to just straight up outplay his opponents. Needs to use positioning advantage, mind games them, whatever he can do. He's still only sitting on one item, but he's farming decently well in terms of he's trying to get all of his gold from killing opponents. Part of the issue that he's going to run into, though, is that the Beastmaster Hawk is going to scout him out. A lot of these cases where he's going in trying to get anything done on his opponent's side. And Soxa is being very active with the counter vision as well, making sure that there is detection everywhere.
Yeah, he's looking to try and go pretty deep for this one and seeing if he can find the Witch Doctor. He's actually just gonna run right into him, a little bit of a pounce, and you know what? I'm gonna call it off for now. Let's not go too much further.
And Soxa once again just kind of sniffing it out. Or that one was Misery. Look at these guys: 3 sentries on the Witch Doctor, 2 sentries on the Elder Titan. they're just going to drop them down and roll through the lanes. Now they're probably going to drop one down and roll through Roshan, and knowing that Infamous can't engage in secret, and Digital Chaos having such good choke point defense with the Earth Splitter, the Stomp, the Alchemist, Acid Spray, they can, well, they're going to try to get a kill.
That was really questionable play right there by both the Doom and the Invoker. They tried to go for a little bit more, but I don't know. If they would have just backed out at that point and TP'd away, they probably would have been fine. Unfortunately, that was not what ended up happening, and now it looks like they're just going to go into Roshan and get this for free.
Yeah, it's going to be a free Rosh. There's nothing I don't think that Infamous can do to stop it. I mean, look at this Alchemist now. He's Manta style. He's almost got Octarine. He's getting, honestly, fairly close to 6 slotted. We're talking 19 minutes into this game. The only way Infamous stay in this is either if he completely misplays or if they just straight up outplay the other members of Digital Chaos, getting them, picking them off, finding them when they're out of position, and then feeding off of that net worth advantage that the Alchemist has through the AoE gold bounties.
Well, Slark here is going to be able to kill off the Courier. There wasn't a ton on it at that point, but he needs to get out of here. Shadowblade is not going to be able to find the kill. It was just some wards, so nothing too significant at this point. But he is causing trouble. He's slowing them down whenever possible. I do have to say that I like Slark late game better against the Alchemist just because you're going to be able to get so many stacks of those Essence Shift up. But I'm still concerned about his ability to get to a point where he's on even footing with the Alchemist. I'm not sure if I see it happening in this game.
Yeah, I mean, yes, in theory that is true. But an important part of that plan is being alive and attacking the Alchemist. When Alchemist has this much net worth, that is far from a sure thing. Right? I mean, look, he's farming out his opponent's jungle by himself, and I don't think he's really at risk of anything here.
My goodness, 1,122 gold per minute on that Alchemist. He is not slowing down by any means. And I'm looking at the situation now as it stands. Is with the Aegis up, is it time to go high ground? They've got Necro Books level 3 on this Lycan, and I believe Necro 3 should be up on the Beastmaster as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he just finished those up as well. Like, they can just almost run up the high ground at this stage.
And they probably can. They might be waiting for the Diffusal Blade so that a good Magnetize won't wreck them. Remember, that is just that is purgeable now, as is Cold Snap. So that Diffusal Blade will be a pretty valuable pickup. If you are walking into your opponents, they're way, way, way ahead, but they are also susceptible to a prolonged engagement. So I think that is probably what we're seeing them wait for.
Yeah. I mean, and again, these are heroes for Infamous that do really well with levels. You've got Invoker, and they're not that far behind in terms of experience, 5,000. So if they're able to take a good team fight where all of their spells go off perfectly, they shut down Misery on the backline on that Witch Doctor before he can start to get off spells, and then they just have to deal with the cores afterwards, this could go okay, but it needs to be perfect, and it looks like the time is now. They're going to go forward. Earth Spike connects onto 2. They also have the follow-up stun. Pretty nicely done there. Don't want to roll in.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's everything they have. And now it's Bad News Bears time.
Well, they jump in, able to catch Doom onto the Beastmaster on the backside. Slark is going to go there onto Misery. They've also got the Magnetize on a first one. A lot of damage come through. The Tornado is going to lift up onto several. Weehaw dropping low, but not dead. Slark needs to run away from there. They end up being able to get the Stomp down, but that's going to end up getting purged off as well. Still looking for Misery, not able to find him, and now Doom gone. Don't have the Finger of Death or a lot of these other spells that they need. They've already lost to Rax, and I don't know if they're going to stop anytime soon. Earth Spirit, rather, is already dead. 15 seconds, he's back up, but all their barracks are gone. This game's pretty much over.
Yeah, I mean, this game has essentially been over for a while, for a long time, with the exception of Digital Chaos had the potential to just throw it away. But Infamous could have played as well as they could possibly play after the 9-minute point in this game, and I'm not sure that they would have been able to knock
dropping
Chaos out. Yeah, but I mean, look at Wii.
That's true.
It doesn't even matter. He's still got his ult up. He's, like...
That's fair enough. Yeah, they're going to kill off the Lycan here. That's just the Aegis at this point, and a big bad Alchemist is going to run in, kills off that Slark. Maybe, no, not quite yet. He hasn't died as of yet, and now he has his Scotty up, so one last barracks. Can they hold him off for the last little bit? It doesn't look like it's going to happen. Mega Creeps have been taken. Infamous never going to give up, and Dark Pact off the stun, but at this point he has to run into all these other heroes. Stacks of agility, 19. It's not nearly going to be enough. He's still getting kited around. They do manage to get the Shadow Blade off, so still a decent situation to take the fight. No, they're too freaking big. Like, Slurk is doing everything right now that he possibly can, but it's nowhere near enough.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a Scotty and the Shadow Blade, which should be actually pretty good, right? But he's up against an Alchemist that's literally 6-slotted at 21 minutes or so, he was. So, really, when it comes down to it, I feel like the Midas purchase on the Slark was a mistake in terms of Infamous's pacing potential. The other big mistake they made is that they didn't rotate the Lion and the Earth Spirit out of lane when the Slark was getting free farm, right? They should have rotated into that mid lane to shut down this Alchemist, because they just gave him everything he possibly could have wanted on a silver platter.
Oh my god, I'm looking at this right now, and we'll take a quick little look at what the final GPM was. Do you want to bring it up? I know you're a stats person from time to time as well. Alchemist GPM record is almost 1,300 the record? Is that a thing?
It's up there. Yeah. I will actually pull. So we won't have record information for this patch, where Alchemist has been pretty popular.
Okay.
For the reason that Dota is not super updating right now. But it is a little slow as well. We'll open the next game with me checking to see if that is a record of the data that I have.
All right, my goodness gracious. That was a freaking stomp. Again, Lyrical, Dota, as well as the Wonder Cow, your two casters today. Nanyang American qualifiers are going to continue in just a little bit with game number 2 of Digital Chaos facing off against Infamous. You said,
yeah, so the previous record from last patch and before is 1198.
So he almost beat it by 100 gold per minute. Weehaw, you madman. This is after they've ended up nerfing the way that Greeble's Greed interacts with Illusion. So pretty good stuff coming out from them. Digital Chaos looking strong. We'll see if Infamous are going to be able to bring it back in game number 2. Stick around, everybody, with more from Nanyang.